It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, what's happening? What's happening, guys? It's Thursday, February 20th. I'm back from the road. I am happy to be home. I'm still a little bit off here, so I'm just kind of getting back in the swing of things here, being in my normal environment. But wanted to jump on here this morning with you guys and give you a little knowledge if I could. So what's happening, Dayton, Jason, Rich? What's going on, guys? Good morning to you. This morning's episode is going to be present where you are. So we're going to talk about, how to make the most out of your time, how to become a little bit more efficient, and how to just, kind of cut out that feeling of feeling like you're all over the place. I know everybody, feels that from time to time. And that's a difficult thing to feel. It's a difficult thing to deal with. And I want to help you guys in a way that I have been able to kind of improve that for myself, and hopefully it helps you guys. So, the one thing that I have learned over the years is to be really the most effective and efficient with your time is to just stay present where you are. And when I say that, what I really mean is, to stay present in what you're doing. So if you are if you're at work, you want to try to stay present at work. If you are, with your family, you want to try to stay present with your family, because the reality is what I see people do a lot, and I'm sure that you guys that are business owners that are on here, or those that work on a team with other people, what I see is that, people's time just gets interrupted all day long, right? And that's a very difficult thing to manage through. What happens is, you're really focused on a task. You get one text message, you get one phone call, you get something, from your significant other, from your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, and that just sends you off course, like in a big way. And so that what ends up happening there is may not seem like that at the time, but every time you look away from that project that you're working on, it takes you significantly longer, not just the time that you took away, but to get refocused, to get kind of back in the groove and to get rolling again. It takes a lot of time. And so I think that we way overlook this with regard to people reaching out to us, texting us, all that stuff during the day. One of the things that I did last year, and I still have it this way, is I don't have any notifications on my phone. So no Instagram, no Facebook, nothing like that. The only thing, I even tried turning text messages off, which I turned back on, but I'm working on trying to even get those away so that I don't have to distract myself from what I'm doing to look at my phone, to see what's going on. Because every time I do that, it's costing me a lot of time, and it's costing me that focus to get stuff done in a super efficient manner. One of the things that I've been working on for a couple of years is not how to spend more time working, but how to be more effective in less time. So if 2 years ago it took me 10 hours to do something, if I can find a way to stay more focused and I can get that down to 8 hours, I am literally getting 2 hours every single day back that I can either reinvest into another project work-wise, I can spend it with my family, I can do, all these different things with that time. And I am very pressed for time these days. And so, I'm doing everything that I possibly can to try and just carve out as much of it as I can get, right? To keep it balanced, to keep it where I am focused where I am. So if I'm at the movie with my kids, I'm not answering work calls. I'm not, I have my full attention on them, on what they're doing, on what I should be doing as a father in that moment. And likewise, if I'm at work, I don't deal with anything that's family related until the end of the day, or maybe during lunchtime or something like that when I'm eating and I got a couple of minutes to catch up on stuff. But if it's not an emergency, I try not to deal with any of that stuff either, because it is incredibly, incredibly inefficient to jump from one thing to the other, back and forth, back and forth. The same is true for the schedule that you have for yourself. So your morning routine, obviously you create some sort of to-do list or schedule as to how you're going to do things that particular day. And if you find yourself jumping from one of those topics or one of those to-dos to the other, you're not being present where you are in finishing a task. You're just jumping to another one because maybe you don't like that task, or maybe it's not something that you're really good at, so you're trying to procrastinate getting it done. And the reality is, every time you jump from one thing to another, I want you guys to remember how inefficient that is, and how it really creates an incredible amount of time loss in your day. And so when you have that time loss in your day, you can't get it back, guys. When you lack efficiency for a day, for 2 days, for a week, it just costs you more time to catch up, right? Mike and I were talking on the road the other day, and he was, he's getting home late, and he's like, I might not be in the office bright and early. I said, well, it's number one, man, you're all good, bro. You've been working like crazy for the last couple of weeks. I said, but number two, the reality is, in our world, is that it doesn't matter what time you get there, everything will still be waiting for you, right? And we can't really delay those things, because they will end up still waiting for you. There's no doubt about it that whatever it is that you have to do, it will still be waiting for you. And if it's not still waiting for you, and somebody else completed that task as a result of you jumping around from place to place, I would tell you that that's probably not a good thing, because the value that you bring to your group is going to start to get questioned eventually, right? One of the things that I say frequently is water always finds its own level. So if you are inefficient, if you are ineffective at what you're doing, you can cover that up for a period of time. But the reality is that everything that you do is being analyzed every single day. And so if you're not working on being better, if you're not working every single day to analyze yourself, to figure out how you can be more effective, how you can be more efficient, that is something that you should start doing today if you're not doing it. Because remember, everybody around you is looking for you to be much more efficient, much more productive, just much more effective at the end of the day at your job. And by the way, as a leader, I look for this inside my company. I want people to be as effective as they can possibly be, because I don't want them to spend all of the time in their life working. I want them to spend the least amount of time for the biggest return that we can get, right? The most effective thing that you can do with yourself is to constantly be analyzing this and figuring out, am I one of these people? Am I jumping from thing to thing? Do I have a spouse or a family member or a friend that's constantly texting me? One of the examples that I have is, I used to be on, 5 or 6 text threads with a bunch of my friends talking about, everything under the sun, from football to, where they were going over the weekend. And very little of that applied to me. And so when I cut that out, when I got off of those text threads, first silencing them, and then eventually, just either asking to be removed, or you get removed because you're not responding, and they figure that out. But the reality is, the more of those things that you take out of your life, the better off you will be. And, when you learn to be more effective with your time, that is a game changer, because you will be able to get everything done in much less time than you did before. And I would tell you that this tip that I'm giving you right now, partnered with your morning routine, are probably the 2 biggest drivers of progress in my life over the past few years. And again, I will tell you straight up, this takes significant support from your significant other, from your family members, from your friends, from your coworkers, to not be constantly pinging you. We have these tools available to us right now they're not good for our focus. Technology is the enemy of focus. And so when you are constantly getting pinged by all these things, It is not a good thing. I just want to say good morning to some people. What's happening, Morgan? Ryan, thanks for the recommendations, man, to everybody that's you're tagging on here. Appreciate that, man. Christina, good morning. Derek, Jacob, what's happening, man? Good morning. Jeff, good morning, man. Jared, what's going on? Andrew, Jason, what's happening, guys? So, with that said, guys, I want to talk for a second about morning routine and the importance of it and why. Because, if we're going to talk about be present where you are, I think for you to be able to stay present where you are, the first thing that you have to do is have a successful and regular morning routine. I've talked to hundreds, if not thousands of people who are incredibly successful, much more than I am. And the one thing that I will tell you that they all have is a morning routine. And I will tell you what I believe that is intended to create in your life. And that is, it is intended to create rhythm for you. It's intended to create a rhythm in your life of being effective. First thing in the morning, you fill out everything in your planner. You create a battle plan for the day. You figure out what you're going to do that day. And when you're done with that, you start into your day and you just feel this kind of rhythm to your life, and you start accomplishing tasks, and you got everything written down, and it all just kind of fits into this nice puzzle. What used to be a puzzle becomes a simple thing that just fits together and works. And when that happens, you're going to find yourself much more productive right out of the gate, because number one, you're going to have confidence, because what did you just do? You just accomplished the first task of the day by organizing yourself, and you created this rhythm in your life. So if that includes, going to your coffee maker and getting your coffee, the way that your routine is with regard to getting a shower and brushing your teeth, like I analyze all of that stuff in myself to figure out how I can be the most effective and create the most rhythm in my life. So when I get off of this show and it's time for me to start work, I am ready to rock and roll. And a lot of times I get some work done before this show too, but at a minimum, I've got everything figured out and ready to go, so that when I get off this show, it's game time, right? It's time to go. It's time to start my day. And when I do that, the effectiveness of my days are just unbelievably different than if I don't. And so I wanted to share that with you guys in addition to the be present where you are topic. I would encourage you to get that morning routine under control and make it as disciplined as you possibly can, because it will impact the rhythm of your day, and it will impact your confidence in the sense that you're starting the day on a good note. You're starting the day knowing that you've already been effective, and it just changes the way that you approach every single thing in your day. If you guys need some help getting some structure into your days, I have a planner that I use, the Top Contractor Elite Planner that I've developed over the last couple of years. Happy to share that with you guys. Just shoot me a DM, and I will send that over to you guys, and you can look at kind of how I structure things. You can alter that thing to however you would like to use it. But the reality is it has everything in it that you need to be successful, to create that rhythm, to create a morning that turns into a successful day, right? One of my buddies, Carl Scaramuza, says, control your morning to own your day. And it's absolutely true. If you can't control your morning, if the first thing that happens to you when you wake up in the morning is something bad, right? You take one, right? Something happens that starts to blow your day up. Isn't it really difficult to get back on track? Think about that. And so when you think about that, if you don't decide how your day is going to go and you allow the world to deal it to you, it's going to be probably a bad day for you. And so it's at least going to be an ineffective day. And so I would tell you that those two things, creating a morning routine, creating some rhythm in my life, creating direction, which, by the way, guys, I'll tell it to you again. I've said it 100 times before, but it's never perfect. There are plenty of days when this doesn't go right for me, when I don't write everything down in my planner the way that I should. It happens a lot less than it used to, but there are going to be days where you fail doing this, right? There's going to be days where you fail at being present where you are. It still happens to me. Don't let that discourage you from maintaining that goal, right? It's no different than like when we all go on a diet and then you slip that one time and then you give yourself an excuse to eat a bunch of stuff that you're not supposed to eat. Think about it. Just that one slip and then boom, you're all the way off track. So don't let that happen just because you might fall down. You might, things might not go the way that you want them to go. But I would tell you that morning routine partnered with be present where you are. So if you're working, stay working. And try to eliminate as much as you can that outside communication with all the things that aren't work related, unless it's an emergency, right? And if you're going to do it, schedule it. So again, I use lunchtime to kind of connect with outside of work stuff to just kind of keep my day going, keep it in rhythm where I don't have a lot of stuff piling up. I can at least knock a couple of personal things off the list, when I'm shoving something in my face for lunch. But the reality is the more that you Mike, be where your feet are. Be present where you are. The more you do that, the more effective your life is going to become. And I cannot stress enough these two things. Be present where you are and get yourself a morning routine that works for you. So I appreciate you guys. Happy Thursday to you. I hope you guys have an awesome Thursday, headed into an awesome Friday and into a great weekend. So I appreciate you guys joining me here this morning. I will see you again tomorrow morning right here, same place, same time on Morning Perspective. Love you guys.